What is going on? I'm Coach Nick, your fishing coach. Today, pulling out another lure from the iHeart KVD box. Now, if you recall, inside this box is some of the most obscure stuff Tony Bashore Sr. could possibly find, and he gave me the lovely assignment of testing them out to decide if they're Bassmasters or if they're busts. I'm going to pick one out today, and we are going to decide. Let's flip open the box and let's see what we got. I got my eye on it right now. I'm picking this deliberately because I like the look of it and I like the potential. And it is this guy right here. This is the HEADHUNTER. It's made by Catchco. Check that out, kind of a cool little package here. Very reminiscent of the Dark Sleeper, which I believe is made by Megabass. And it's got a couple unique characteristics. And I'm gonna pop this box open and I'm gonna show you what I mean. So overall, it's nothing earth-shattering. It's a swim bait. That's just, it is what it is. But the profile is somewhat unique. If I look at that, that looks pretty doggone like a bluegill, or maybe down here in Florida, even like a small tilapia. Some of these species get kind of that rounded shape to the body. So it looks a lot like that, especially with those colors. That's a bluegill for sure. So that profile makes it a little bit unique. But the other thing is the way the hook is designed and the way it's covered. It's kind of a weedless design here. I think of this almost in the same way of like a Spro topwater frog, where the plastic compresses and then that opens up the opportunity for the hook to penetrate the fish. If you look at this guy, it's got little pieces of plastic here that cover that hook, okay? Kind of a wedge shape there. Fish bites, that gets compressed, hook is exposed, bam, right in the corner of the mouth. Best case scenario, I reel it in, I take a picture on Instagram, and I gloat about how big the fish is. That's what we want. That is this guy right here. Now, if you recall from the last video, in Bassmaster or Bust, the goal is simple. We want a proof of concept. Proof if we think this lure has the potential to catch fish and consistently catch fish on the water. Does it meet a specific need? Is it a replacement or a supplement to something that already exists? And bottom line, is it meant to really catch fish, or is it meant to catch the angler's attention and make him buy it at Bass Pro Shops or wherever you buy your fishing lures? So if we catch fish today, great. If we don't, we're just trying to prove a point with this little guy right here. It's kind of cute. Hopefully a bass thinks it's cute too, and he comes up and eats it. All right, in terms of gear selection, pretty simple. We have a Shimano Curado DC. If you're not familiar with this specific reel or the DC braking, you need to inform yourself. It's revolutionary and it's very cool. You're gonna hear it today as I cast that DC braking work. It's a 150 size reel. It is about a 6.2 or 3 to 1 gear ratio, so it's kind of that all-purpose. It's not real fast, it's not real slow, but I can easily manipulate by the speed of my retrieve. The rod, this is a 7-foot Field & Stream Tech Spec Black. Cool name for a rod. This guy I like for this purpose because it doesn't tend to overpower a bait like this that's not super heavy. I have like a medium heavy Abu Garcia Vendetta. If I was going to try to throw this, it's just too much rod for something this size in my opinion. So this guy also has a little bit more of a parabolic taper, if you can see that. So it's still kind of a fast action, but it tapers a little bit lower on the rod than some of my heavier setups. So I don't tend to pull the hooks out of fish's mouth, kind of a small hook on this guy, so that should help. It allows me to play the fish and not overpower the lure that I'm trying to manipulate. So that's the gear. The setup is simple. We're gonna come out here, we're gonna start with some fan cast straight out, see how that works, and then if we don't get anything on those fan casts perpendicular to shore, then we're gonna try parallel to the shore. There's a little bog over here too, and sometimes they like to hang underneath that bog, and when something comes by, they ambush it and they eat it. Let's see what happens. Let's throw this guy around. Let's catch some fish, shall we? All right, here we are. So as you can see right here, right along the edge is a little bit of that bog. It's an area you don't want to step because you'll go right in, and there's an alligator right there, in fact. But as I mentioned, they like to hang underneath it and they ambush things as it comes by. So we'll see what happens. Let's start off with casts straight out towards the middle. Shallow lake, about 10 feet. Let's see what we can get. All right, starting with a straight retrieve. So far, I don't feel that little tail. I mean, I know it's moving, but I can't say I feel it, which I'm not sure I like. Let's check out that action a little bit. All right, so as I reel it, yeah, I see that little tail moving. I don't feel it at all. A lot of swim baits, you can feel the tail going back and forth, creates a little vibration through the rod. Maybe this is a better lure to be using on a spinning setup that's a little bit lighter. We'll keep trying, we'll see what we think here. All right, casting back out. Cast quite well. It's pretty aerodynamic. It's kind of round. All right. Now, as light as this guy is too, I'm not even gonna jerk the rod tip when I start. I don't need to set it like I would a spinner bait to make sure it's running in line. I just need to keep this steady retrieve, steady retrieve. One thing I'm noticing is as I retrieve, this guy wants to turn on its side a lot. Let's try that again, see if it does the same thing. Not bad, not bad. Did it a couple times. All right, throw some angles to it. This is definitely a lure I feel like if you get a hit, you're gonna know it. It doesn't have a whole lot of action that you feel through the rod, so any kind of disturbance, you're gonna feel it. Kind of hit me in one of my pet peeves, which is I'm not a guy who likes fishing lures that I can't feel what they're doing. Even something like for my saltwater guys, or even guys that maybe use it for freshwater, something like a DOA Cal. It's like that big, it's tiny, but you can feel that tail flapping back and forth. I like that. That way I know the lure's doing what it's supposed to be doing, and when I feel something different than that, I know I got a hit. Let's do another cast out here. She's a hot one down here in southern Florida, let me tell you, son. I'm sweating off my booty right now. I'm gonna burn my head too. I'm gonna get a big old burn on the back of my big old head. You could almost use this in the way you use a jig. So with fishing these little pockets of this bog here, I might even look for a little cut and just pitch it out there and reel it just that little bit of distance. Sometimes you can get something like that, and it works because again, the profile is so compact. This time I'm gonna let it sink a little bit here. See if we get down to the depths, maybe towards the bottom. I know part of the design of covering that hookup is so that you can have it on the bottom and just kind of skim the bottom, especially if I had like a rock or gravel bottom. That would be super beneficial, having that kind of design. They come down and just slurp it up. Wish this alligator would quit going to all my spots. I can't imagine that's gonna help. You have a giant reptilian predator in your fishing spot. Not only that, if I get one on, he's gonna come over and try to steal my fish. It happens a lot. All right, new spot here, still more of that bog. Alligators right over there chilling. All right, let's see what we can do. Okay, we're gonna go right past this bog. Oh, hey, we had one. We had one. That was a hit. That was a hit, 100%. That was a better hit too. Now I set it pretty quick. I wonder if I need to wait a little bit longer, let him get that whole thing in his mouth a little bit more. They're not really hitting it like they want to eat it. They're hitting it more defensively. And my guys that have been bass fishing for a while, you know what I'm talking about. Instead of coming up and just engulfing it and grabbing it, it's more of just that real quick contact. Sometimes they'll do that just like, get out of here, leave me alone. Moving down again. Another quite fishy looking spot here. Lots of little overhangs, lots of little indents here. I see tilapia and such, so we know there's at least some types of fish here. Got one. Got one. Alligator just jumped at it. crap. Okay, we got a fish, we have a fish, and we have an alligator chasing me. I don't know if you can see it, but he's right there. All right, as far as the hook set, that was perfect, actually, right in the corner of the mouth. I'm gonna turn it around here because I really don't want him trying to eat me. There's our fish, and he hit that sucker hard, man. Wasn't the deepest penetration, but clearly it did the job, and plus I had to pull him through all that cover too. I think this gives us a verdict on this lure right here. We got one, and we've had several bites before this too. So I'm gonna put this guy back before the alligator tries to come up here and take my fish. He can get his own food. All right, move down a little bit further. We're just about to this last little corner of this side of the lake. We're just gonna fish this little coast for today. I just scared off the gator. I yelled at him and I ran towards him a couple steps and he swam off, no issue, so that's good. I'm tired of dealing with him. We're gonna make a few more casts along here and see if we can get anything else to draw out from under the bog and eat this guy right here. Let's do it. That was another hit. So, you know, that's just kind of, that was a fish. He just came up on the surface for like a second. Okay, that was a fish. I don't love the way this hook is penetrating, but I think, honestly, in hindsight, I think I got the wrong rod. I think I need something with a little bit more backbone because I'm just not connecting the way that it should. But that's good. More proof of concept here. That was it. There was one. Oh! That was a better one too, man. Not liking the hook penetration. I set the hook fine. He just jumped right off. They like this thing. All right, we're gonna try just a little bit longer. We got one in the hand, one on land that I almost was able to grab, and then one that jumped off. So I'd like to get one more in my hands here before we decide the fate of this particular fishing lure. Right on the money. All right. It's time for the final verdict of this guy right here. This is the Catchco Headhunter. It is designed in the style of a bluegill. It's a small profile swim bait with a hidden hook that makes it essentially weedless. And the verdict on this guy is, it is a Bassmaster. 100%. Today we had 3 fish on in about 45 minutes, maybe less, maybe more like a half hour. We had a number of bites besides. We didn't fish it crazy hard either. I was just kind of throwing around, just seeing what happens. And it brought fish to us, and that was the goal. Not only that, even if it didn't catch fish, you could tell by the action it's a well-made lure. A couple times it kind of tilted on its side, but it seemed to correct that pretty well. I think it was the plastic at the top kind of getting stuck underneath the hook. But it's got a real tight wiggle with that tail. Good action, good size, good profile, and very realistic. Now, after fishing this, there's a couple things I learned. Number one is I did not choose the right gear. This rod is a medium action. It's got a lot of graphite in it, so it's got a lot of give to it. And it just wasn't enough to really set that hook. The one that we got on land, we just kind of had it in the corner of the mouth and it wasn't hooked very deep. Ideally, when we catch a fish, we want it in the corner of the mouth, but we want it deep in there where it's really hard for that hook to get thrown. We had the best fish of the day, throw the hook. It wasn't a giant, but we still don't want to see that. So I would definitely go with a little bit stiffer rod. The other thing I would consider is maybe throwing this with braid. This is monofilament. I like monofilament a lot on my bait cast reels, but there's definitely a call for braid. If I was fishing anything with more cover than this, 100% I would be throwing it on braid. I wouldn't throw it on spinning. Bait cast is definitely the way to go, in my opinion, but it worked well. Very simple lure to fish. I threw it out there, I reeled it back in. When I was done, repeat over and over and over, and it caught some fish. Maybe if you're a beginner, this could be a good bait for you as well. Now, please comment below if you own one of these, and if you do, does it work for you? Do you agree with my decision that it's a Bassmaster and not a busted lure? Comment below, let us know. As always, subscribe to the channel if you've not done so already. Why are you waiting? And if you are subscribed, make sure that notification bell is hit as well, so that when we launch new videos, whether it's this or our top 5s or of course the 3-minute grab bag giveaway, you can get notified when those videos drop to make sure you're one of the first to view them. I'm Coach Nick, your fishing coach, and this guy is a Bassmaster. Later.
Jag är somalier och jag rappar mina rötter, ey. 15 000 det är bara mina fötter, ey. Jag är somali, rappar Mali.